All right, hopefully this is a good DMR for you. Number 1 obviously is very old. Hopefully you're remembering it okay. Number 2 is medium old. 3 is pretty new, and 4 is very new, right? We just started talking about functions last time, and we're going to keep talking about functions today. Accomplished, so here you go. Oh. The teacher sense tells me that someone's got a question, something worth talking about. I'll just be patient. I could be wrong. Okay. Early it? Okay, well, if that's the case, please don't be that person that on Friday when you're taking your test you think, darn it, I wish I would have asked about that on Tuesday when you just sat there and was silent for a while. Don't be that person. No? Okay. I can't make you. I'll just do my best. Okay. We're good. For real? Okay, fair enough. So we're going to do, I want to do one little warm-up before we do our Kahoot, and make sure that y'all are doing okay from the intro video. Because if you're not doing okay from the intro video, the Kahoot's going to stink. It's going to be terrible. You're not going to have any idea what you're doing. I want to make sure you know what you're doing so that the Kahoot will be fun. So if you would, in your packet, watch what I do on the screen here. Okay, so I'm going to go backwards a little bit on the screen. And so I'm going to do this. Going backwards a little bit. I'm going backwards some more. Going backwards a little bit more to this page right here. So this is back in time just a little bit. And like I said, the main reason I want to do this is I want our Kahoot to be fun. And if you know what you're doing, I think the Kahoot will be very fun. But if you don't, the Kahoot will not be fun. Okay? Just want to make sure we're good to go. And once we can make our way through this, then I think should be in pretty good shape for the Kahoot. Okay? So go back a couple of pages. It looks like this. Try to match this up exactly. Function notation, and what about the inputs and outputs? What does this look like? Y'all good? Y'all on this page? Okay. So, if I have a lovely function like this, g of x, that's how you say this. I'll put this over here. I'll say, you say this here, g of x. Oops. So the first important thing for us to remember on this is that g parentheses x, when we're talking about functions, does not mean g times x. It's not a multiplication. What I would say is this, that g is the name of the function, and x is the input that we're going to be, the number we're going to be putting into that function. Okay? So g is just the name, and x is the input. So this is just a different way of evaluating, a different way of seeing inputs and outputs. This over here is our expression that we're going to be evaluating. And as you guys have already been doing a lot of, we're going to be plugging a number in for x for that expression. So I wanted to give you a couple of examples to think about. I'll do the first one with you and see if you guys can do the other ones. So number 3 right here says if f of x, now remember, what does f of x not mean?
Multiplication.
It does not mean multiplication. I know we kind of sometimes people get hung up on that. It does not mean multiplication. It means the name of the function is f and the input is x. That's all it means. So f of x is equal to negative 4x plus 9. Then it asks us to find 3 different things, and these are kind of 3 different questions. And like I said, I want to do the first one with you. So did you notice over here with f of 1, what has the 1 replaced? It's in place of x. And so what this means right here is replace x with a 1. We're going to evaluate this function, f of x, when x is 1. So to do that, I'm going to come over here and say f of 1 equals, and I know that my rule is, or my expression is negative 4x plus 9, so this will be negative 4. And what do I replace the x with? 1, yep. And then plus 9. Once I've done this, I'm going to follow my order of operations. There's no parentheses, work, or exponents on this one, so I'll just skip right to multiplication. So it would be negative 4 times 1 is 4, and negative 4 plus 9 is 5. So this right here would be my final value. I would say f of 1 equals 5. That's not multiplication, right? The f of 1, that does not mean f times 1. It just means this. It means the input was 1. Let's try that again. The input was 1. And what's the 5? That's the output. That's the y value. Yeah, so the output is 5. So that's all that means. There's no multiplication happening on that particular expression. It's just the input was 1 and the output was 5. It's a nice descriptive way of doing an evaluation. So what I would like you guys to do real quick before we do our Kahoot is I would like you guys to try f of negative 2, try to find the value of that, and also try to find the value of f of 6. Okay? And I'll be around to help as you might want. Okay, so let's fast forward just a little bit. Yes, I'll tell you what, so fast forward one page, move forward one page, and I just want you to try one of these, and we'll see how this goes. Please try this one right here. Please try h of negative 2. This should be forward one page. I think I did that right. So the name of the function now is not G for Greg or Gary or whatever. Now it's H for Helen or Harry or Han Solo.
Does that mean the x? So would that mean that negative 2 is squared?
Goes in place of the x. Yep, exactly. Yep, exactly right. So wherever you see an x, you put a negative 2. And I would definitely encourage parentheses when you do input, just like we've always done. I don't think it'll be any different. Same process. It involves an exponent. So it's like one small level of difficulty.
Which one are you guys doing? The negative 2.
We're doing the h of negative 2. Yes, ma'am. Well, you're violating order of ops, right? Isn't order of ops PEMDAS? So you did multiplication before you did your exponent. You got to do your exponent before you do multiplication or division. Remember, once you plug in, please use PEMDAS. Please use order of operations. So you actually did the same thing. You multiplied before you did an exponent. You want to do exponents before multiplication or division. Perfect. Say it one more time.
Do I do 2 squared times this or that?
Is that right?
So, I'm talking to Oliver. Hang on one second. So you do exponents first, right?
Yeah.
What's being squared?
And that would be negative 2 also.
3
Because
what?
it's an x.
No, I don't think the 3 is being squared at all.
Negative 2?
I think the x is being squared, and so since you replaced the x with the negative 2, I would say only the negative 2 is being squared. You think you got something there, Mason?
Is that right?
Remember that. This is beautiful notation right here. This is perfect. Remember that negative 2 in parentheses squared means negative 2 times negative 2, which should result in? Yeah, there we go. So see if you can fix that, you should be well on your way. Yep, that's good.
On this one, you have to multiply the negative 2 first. 2. Or square.
Yep, you got to square before you multiply. Exponents before multiplication. There we go. All right. Keep working through this one. It's the world's tiniest correct writing there, Noah. Well done. Easier to see. Did you get a positive output or a negative output?
Negative.
Should be a positive output. Should be positive. Okay. Be careful with this. This notation right here.
Oh, it should
We're
be X.
verging. No. It should be h of negative 2.
Or, yeah,
There we go.
H.
That gets a little scary when you leave off the input, right, on a function notation like that. All right. We're making progress. This is good. Remember, wherever you see an x, you put a negative 2. So even if there's more than one, we put a negative 2, not just a 2. Okay, we're doing better. We're doing pretty good there. Okay. All right. Seeing quite a bit of good stuff here. So the number one mistake that I saw was order of operations. So would you guys be okay with this if I wrote h of negative 2 equals 3 times negative 2 squared minus 5 times negative 2? Does that first part make sense?
Yes.
Essentially, it's wherever you see an x,
Put it to.
you put a negative 2 in parentheses, right? So then, once you've plugged in that x, your next and only step is to follow order of operations, right? I saw a lot of this, and so maybe for those that didn't do this, can you guys tell me what's so bad about this? Yes, I multiplied before I did my exponent. This is where we kind of fall victim to the always go left to right. I'd say in math, you rarely go left to right. Sometimes you do, but rarely. Okay, so that was not a good step, so I'll get rid of that. I got to do my exponents first. Can you all tell me what this is right here?
4.
Is it positive 4 or is it negative 4?
Positive.
Isn't it negative 2 times negative 2?
Yeah.
And a negative times a negative is a positive, so it is positive 4. So 3 times 4 minus 5 times negative 2. Again, following order of operations. Now I can do my multiplication, right? So h of negative 2, well, that would be 3 times 4 is 12, minus 5 times negative 2. That's negative 10, isn't it? And look, what's minus a negative 10?
Positive.
It's really plus, a positive 10. And so then you'd finish with your addition. 12 plus 10 is 22. And that would be a nice expression to finish with. We're done. So, any follow-ups there? Any questions? All right, so you're going to want to have, please don't pack up, you're going to definitely want paper because you're going to be doing some writing. So you could use empty spaces on your notes packet or some notebook paper or something. Why don't you guys grab a device that the internet works on? Let's do a Kahoot and hopefully have a little bit of fun with these functions. Pin that should be showing up. It's a little laggy right now. I hope that gets better. So there you go. Game pin 16053. So use some sort of internet device to get on there. You're definitely going to need some paper to do a little bit of writing and calculating and such. And once we have all, after we have 4, 7, 11, 15, 17 of you. 6.5. Oh, great. Oh, we have uppercase Julia and lowercase Julia. Thanks for... Okay. It's all good. It's all good. Until you guys have done this before. Good. And one more to join. Tulsha. I like that. Yes. I think I know who that is. All right, so I think we have like 5 or 6 questions on our Kahoot. As you all know, speed is rewarded, but speed with accuracy, right? So don't just like randomly guess, because if you do, you're going to get nothing. Hey, there we go. Okay, so we're going to play a Kahoot. Here we go. So functions, 6 questions here. All right, so this is like what we were just practicing. And there's some classic Kahoot music for you. You've got 2 minutes. F of x equals negative x squared plus 6x plus 3. Find f of negative 2. Man, doggone, I put things like right in the wrong spot. The yellow answer is 19. The green answer is negative 13. Anyways, this point here is just to practice, learn, have fun. So do your best. See how it goes. You got 30 seconds. Keep working, you can do it. Scary music, 5 seconds to go. All right, that's good. Majority of you got that one. That's better. It's a good start. Real good start. Okay, let's see who is leading. Sid leads, but it's so close. This could be anybody's game still. All right, let's try another one. Question 2. This one has an absolute value in it. That's what those 2 vertical bars are. G of x equals 9x minus the absolute value of x minus 1. Find g of negative 1. About a minute to go. Okay, so 12 this time. I would say if at any point, if any of you look up there and you're thinking, I was for sure it was yellow, and you wanted to talk about why it's supposed to be red, be happy to. Anybody feeling like that? You want to talk about why it's red? No? Yes? Sydney? You don't? Come on now.
Negative 7.
Say again?
I got negative 7.
Okay, well, let me, do you think it'd help if I showed you?
Sure.
Okay. So I would say g of negative 1 would be 9 parentheses negative 1 minus absolute value of negative 1 minus 1. That make sense? Does that make sense? What I basically, wherever I see an x, I'm just going to drop in a negative 1. So check this out. Order of operations tells me to do the work inside the grouping symbols first. So that includes absolute values. So this would be 9 times negative 1 minus, what's negative 1 minus 1? Negative 2. Okay. So now I'm going to say g of negative 1 equals, Sebastian, can you see this?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 9 times negative 1 minus, what's the absolute value of negative 2?
2.
2. So I'm here. sorry, Doc, let me get this out of your way. It just seems like this isn't a bad spot. And then I'd come over here, I could finally do my multiplication. 9 times negative 1 is negative 9, right? So g of negative 1 equals negative 9 minus 2, and that's negative 11, right? That's left 9, left 2, get to negative 11. Okay, so leaderboard. Sid leads, but it's still very close. Here's question 3. Are you getting the theme here? These first 4 questions, I think, are all very similar. H of x equals 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. Find h of negative 1. Remember, h is just the name of the function. X is the input. In this case, the input is negative 1. And hopefully you'll be able to find a good output. That's an improvement, good. The answer was 15. 15. All right. Isa is apparently on fire, according to Kahoot. Talsha's in there. Awesome. Still very, very close. Here we go. Can anyone dethrone Sid? We'll find out. Here we go. G of x equals negative 3x squared minus x plus 5. Find g of negative 2. I think the last 2 questions are a little bit different. Hey, yes, oh, awesome. I think we got delivered. A little bit more than a minute to go on this one. Pure genius, not just genius, but it's pure genius, Chase. Lightning smart? I don't know, lightning smart? So this might be one that's worth looking at. I'll just come over here. So g of negative 2, do you guys agree with this? That g of negative 2 would be negative 3 parentheses negative 2 squared minus negative 2 plus 5? Yes. All I'm doing is that wherever I see an x, I'm replacing it with parentheses negative 2. Order of operation tells me that I need to do work in parentheses first, which there is none. But there is an exponent. That first term has an exponent. So I would say g of negative 2 for my first step would be negative 3 times what? 4. 4, right? Because negative 2 times negative 2 would be 4. And I can do this. Well, what's minus negative 2? I can do that here. Plus 2. Plus 5. So what is negative 3 times positive 4?
Negative 12.
There's your negative 12 plus 2 plus 5. Well, negative 12 plus 2, that'd be negative 10. Plus 5 more would just be negative 5. Okay. So we did okay, but maybe not quite as good as some of the other ones. And Isa is now in the lead. It is still very, very close. And I think this next question is a little bit different than the ones we've been doing. All right, so check this one out. Question 5, yeah, which of the following relations is a function? Which of the following is a function? So just giving you ordered pairs. This is really similar to your DMR warm-up today. You've got to pick the correct color that represents a function. You guys notice on the yellow one, the 1 has two different outputs? One has an output of -6 and one has an output of 10. Do you see that? So that's why yellow is not a function. A red, all of the inputs have exactly one output, so red is a function. Okay, Isa continues to lead. Here we go with our final question. I'll be handing back your concept quizzes, so this last one should be fairly quick. Very quick question, like 15 seconds here. All right, the answer was vertical line test. Vertical line test. Our final leader is Isa. Was that really Isa? Is that really you? Awesome. Who is SOF? So, got it. Oliver, is that really you, Oliver? Excellent work. Here is the rest of the top 5. Ella was in the top 5. Mason, was that really Ella? And Mason was really Mason? Awesome. Very good. I hope that was fun. We'll do more Kahoots in the future. You guys did very, very well with that Kahoot. So we'll definitely keep doing those. These are your concept quiz 5 that you guys took care of from last Friday. I don't know that I would be super hung up on doing a retry on these yet because you got your test, and this is not on your test. You got your test coming out this Friday.
Wait, you know how tomorrow, like Thursday, you can't do any more retries.
So you can do a retry on Thursday. Just after Friday, no more retries. Yeah.
But is this going to be due?
No, that's not what I said. Yeah, it's not about the way. You wrote it backwards. You used the other topic. You said 1 is greater than or equal to x. It would be better to write that x is less than or equal to 1. I would obviously have the variable on the left. You say here, George, and the number on the right. Otherwise, I would call that like standard form for inequality. That'll get you to a better place with drawing your arrow and all that good stuff. Okay, so you guys have all this stuff here. We'll roll on tomorrow. Great job today. Go strong, tourists. Isa, did my note there make sense to you?
What?
I wrote a little note on your quiz about watch out for this.